Alrighty. There we go. We're live.
There's
Um,
something akin to science to that statement.
yeah.
Something akin to science.
All right. So this is session 51 of Mask of Nyarlathotep. Our session last time was cut a little short because we had a power outage out this way. So it was not Cthulhu manifesting to destroy us. Just a
Yet, hopefully.
simple infrastructure failure. But you
That's what a
guys,
cultist would tell us.
that is what a cultist would tell you. But you guys are deep in the Great Sandy Desert of Australia, trying to track down this lost city where, according to a map you saw in the pyramid, one of the gates is located. You guys have traveled a significant way without too much difficulty, really. But last time you guys came across this largely abandoned and destroyed campsite. It looked like something monstrously huge had flattened some trucks, and basically wreaked havoc with the campsite. You did find one survivor who was pretty much completely insane, wandering around the desert naked except for his shoes. Who seemed to have a way with the wild dogs. But he did provide you some information as to what happened. And something about an American gentleman named Carver, who had hired a bunch of people to come out here to dig some holes. Money ran out. People started getting uppity. Carver went into the desert, and then he came back and had these creatures with him that just wrecked everything. And then he wandered back off into the desert. But this
Totally normal.
Totally normal. But this insane desert dweller seemed harmless enough for the most part, and basically gave you the lowdown as to what had happened in this area. And he did mention that Carver had walked off into the desert after the destruction, in the direction where you believe this city to be. But I believe that is where we left off. You guys deciding what it is you would like to do.
So we're apart from this guy right now. We can have a conversation.
Yes. Yeah.
As long as his keen-eared animal friends don't actually speak to him.
Yeah, and they seem to stay fairly close to him. He's just busy playing fetch using like a human thigh bone.
Totally normal. So, lady, gentlemen, thoughts? Yeah, I'm pretty surprised as well.
Well, that was something.
Something is a statement.
I would say it wasn't all there, but that would be the understatement of the year.
I'm starting to learn an appreciation for crazy, where it's not a crazy or not crazy. There's a nuance there, because this gentleman is clearly not okay and yet incredibly cogent at the same time.
Well, we did get some useful information out of it, but the delivery was special. At least we know he was here, and he did find something funky.
Do you mean Carver or?
Yep, Carver. we're on the right path. That's what I mean.
I mean, we're
Even if
definitely
it's
on a path.
yeah. I mean, usually we try to find a strange thing, and it leads us to what we need. We definitely found a strange thing.
Can't disagree with that. Now, do we follow the strange thing? Evelyn?
I'm skeptical of someone who walks around sans
Naked?
clothing in a desert. I have concerns about his magic rocks. Although the warning about finding cover if there's a whistling sound seems legitimate. I
I know,
think
right?
that
He's
this,
crazy, but there are bits of it that, more than just a bit of it, sounds almost like a
like it
normal
works.
reaction. Not only it works, but like a normal reaction to craziness.
I think this carver is going to be in the place where we're going if he's still alive. I can't say the same for the people who went with him. I doubt that they will be.
Everywhere we've gone, however, we've been accosted by cultists, as in lots of people.
Plural. That's
I
true.
don't
It's
feel like
entirely
that's
possible.
happening.
It could be that the 20 or so people that he said went with Carver, they might be there. We should plan for the worst, hope for the best.
I thought all those people died. That's why there's all the bones here.
I don't know if there are 20 people worth of bones here, but that really isn't my area of expertise, so to speak.
If only we had an anthropologist.
I haven't seen 20 skulls. That's all I'm going to say. And I don't know if that's because of the winged thing, or the dogs, or dingoes, or whatever those things are, or if it's because of him, or because they're still attached to the people who need them. I won't be surprised if there are people with Carver, but I really hope there aren't. Because more people could have ended up with him after. But it's been 4 years. So if they haven't had anything to resupply them, I greatly doubt they've managed to survive out here on their own for 4 years with no supplies.
Also, everywhere else where we've been, we've heard of groups of people. We haven't heard of groups of people, right? Out here.
As long as it's not like any other return.
I mean, in Kenya, we knew everyone was afraid of the cults. We knew that there were people there. We just didn't know where they were
Yeah, but they
until we
were
got to the mountain.
like a
Hiding
lot.
everywhere.
Yeah, but we'd heard that they were out there. Everyone was afraid of them. This is the opposite. There's nothing.
Right, there are no rumors of a large group hiding anywhere, just this one Carver fellow and his. Unless he still has the people who left with him. Because Grogan said that there were people bowing to Carver, and he led them out into the desert. So,
Chris, did he allude to how many people there were that followed him into the desert?
No. He mentioned that there were 20 altogether, but how many of them died and how many of them followed Carver?
true.
So, not to sound optimistic, I'm going to say optimistic only because of Kenya. It seems like the most they could be are 19.
As long as they haven't gathered anyone new or joined a larger group. And I don't remember us hearing anything about larger groups when we were at the bars. Then again, that whole time frame with the... It's a little foggy. I don't know if any of you overheard anything in Port Hedland or not. I mean, it's possible that the cows we heard of that have gone missing were taken by the winged things. They could be feeding a group, but that doesn't sound terribly healthy for 4 years. Or likely. Chris, Robert Mackenzie's still with us, right?
He is, yep.
What's his take on all this?
Okay. Well, I mean, we're relatively close to where Arthur and I found the mysterious stones. Depending on what was there, maybe this Carver fellow set up an expeditionary force. I mean, we're not terribly far from the canning route. He could have brought more supplies in.
Have you heard of anyone gathering people?
No, last I heard Carver's name before today was about 4 years ago. Doesn't mean people weren't, recruiting on his behalf, hiring on his behalf.
Would you have heard of anyone heading out this way?
People tend to keep their claims pretty close to their chest. If you don't tell somebody where you found gold, nobody's going to steal it from you.
Can't fault the logic.
I mean, if anybody knew anything, it would probably be Mortimer, but he's all the way back in Concudgery.
Anywho, we still have to go.
Yeah, I don't think we have a choice. We have to go there.
Of course, it's gonna be bad. I mean, it's kind of a theme right now.
You're muted.
Like I said, we can hope for the best, plan for the worst. In as much as we have anything to plan with.
Yeah, well, that was my point. We have a limited amount of resources. So we need to do as good as we can. So yes, proceed with caution.
But we do have to proceed.
Because it's gonna bite us in the tuchis eventually.
You're so polite, Gary.
So we move forward.
We do.
I don't want to say yes, but we have to.
Miles, Eugene, what do you think?
I, as Mark, don't know if I missed a session due to vacation because when I last left off, we were hearing noises in the night that we thought were dingoes.
Right.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
let's update that.
Oh, yeah, shit.
Whoops.
I'll put my notes in
Even if it's like just a couple of quick bullets to give me an idea,
We
went down the. Go ahead.
we encountered a naked hermit with his 8 dingoes. He is probably totally nuts, but still informed us that Carver was still around, and he went into the ruins with 20 fellas a couple of years back. Quickly, that's what I remember.
Yeah, we found an encampment. Found an encampment that was made to house multiple people, and turns out there was only a crazy dude left. And he told us a story of the guy leading the expedition, Carver, who went crazy, went into the wilderness, came back with things. The things killed people until the rest of the people followed him out into the wilderness, into the desert. Is that pretty much the gist of it?
pretty much.
Yep.
I put the last half of my notes from last session in the general chat.
Cool, thank you.
Welcome. It's a little more detailed, but we hit the major points. Other than the magic rocks and those sleep sounds.
Yeah, the magic rocks are, this gentleman, Gogan, has like a circle of rocks that he claims is magical and protects him from his enemies.
And a couple of polite dick jokes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he did offer to share his can of beans with people.
After digging into them with his bare fingers.
But he was very
Yep.
kind, yes.
As one will do, yeah. That's life. That's life in the outback and such.
Is it really?
I don't. Well, I mean, I'm not saying I've ever eaten a can of beans with my fingers when I've been on a safari, but I'm not saying I've done that.
And you're not wrong in saying it's the life in the outback. This is literally the only life in the outback. We have seeds.
Yes, other than the poisonous things that could kill you.
Other
And
than
the
those.
dingoes.
And the dingoes.
And the flying something translucent.
Oh, we
True,
forgot to say that
Yes.
the guy
The
who we found, the crazy person, was leading a pack of wild, ravenous dingoes and seemed to be at his beck and call. That was another weird thing that I completely. That was the least of the weird things, and so we forgot to mention it.
so what is the current debate in terms of course of action?
Whether we need to continue on, which I think
Do
we
we
do,
follow Carver's footsteps, assuming
or
that
do
the
we?
craziness is where we go, or do we keep looking?
I mean, we have our expedition planned. I just think that's where we're going to end up finding Carver. I think that whatever he is worshipping and speaking to with wings, I doubt that there are two spots out here, although the desert does seem a bit big, so maybe there are. I just expect we're going to find it all in the same place.
Well, if we have a destination in mind already, we should continue on with that for now.
I agree. I don't think it's going to be a situation like it was in Egypt where we're in one pyramid and everyone else is in the other one. I think this is going to be more like Kenya was. Although, hopefully, with less people.
It's like we had that discussion at some point, I can't remember where it seemed like everyone was obsessed with going to investigate every little thing when we had a clear goal in mind, and we need to stay on that road.
China, I think.
Or Egypt or Kenya, somewhere.
To be fair, I mean, there was a revolution happening in China, so it was a bit distracting. And we weren't quite as experienced in how the
Finish
universe.
that sentence.
We weren't quite as experienced in how the universe tends to cluster things together. Like the delivery I have to make of coffee and alcohol happens to be the same place that we're going.
Or the
Although it.
spells that might destroy the world. Or
Mhm.
the
The what? What?
magic. Or the hits from your friendly neighborhood Eugene that drives a poor Gary totally knocked out.
I don't think they were really clustered. Well, I suppose it was a cluster of hits.
So
I
we're
don't
in
know what's
agreement.
going to
We
happen.
keep going forward, as in towards our final destination.
Yes, our
Yes.
destination as we intended, as opposed to
Yeah, let's not
whatever.
call it a final destination. But yeah, I agree.
And if we happen to meet Carver there, then we do. I expect we will. If we don't, then once we've uncovered what we need to do here, then maybe we can try to find him and see if he's useful in some way. But I doubt that he will be because he seems to be on the winged thing side of this
Can we just call
equation.
it the other side?
We could, yes, I
And
suppose.
another thing's kind of worrying
Makes
me
you more
though.
comfortable.
That that thing that we have to do with multiple people, and I just side glance at our guide, so I'm not explaining
Mm-hmm.
too much of a ritual thingy. Yeah, that thing that we have to do with other people, we're kind of not enough.
Well, let's find it first. It's going to be much easier if there's nothing in the way.
That, my friend, is some wishful thinking, and I'm right there with you.
No one has ever accused me of being positive before, but
Today's the first.
All right, so you guys are making your way off in the desert towards the coordinates you have?
yes.
All right. I will get somebody to give me a navigation roll.
Isn't that why we hired an NPC? Because we suck at navigation.
Well, he's a geologist and he's good at desert survival, but he's not a navigator.
Mark.
Is AFK. He just went away from his keyboard. Yeah, my navigation is 10. So
Let
maybe
me check how
not.
good I am at this.
Maybe not Evelyn.
Let's see.
I can drive. Someone else needs to point the way. Our
Yeah,
car
I'm
is
no,
left
I'm,
behind
I'm
anyway.
no better than you.
Is navigation even on my sheet? Oh, there it is. Yeah, 10.
Yeah, same. Altogether, we have 40, though.
That counts. That's totally a thing, right?
So yeah, Miles actually has a 35.
On
On
his
his own.
own.
Yeah, on his own, he's like better than we are.
Yeah.
All.
So yeah, so you guys can. Are you guys walking, or are you guys gonna go back to your vehicles and see if you can't find a way around this like narrow canyon?
I know I would prefer if we had vehicles. Not so much for the getting
Same.
there, but for the
The
escaping.
getting out of there. Yeah, escaping.
Getting
I like
out.
that. The getaway.
I'd
I
like
am
to say that,
hoping.
yeah, escaping is something that should be envisioned.
I'm hoping it'll be the wrong word. Leaving leisurely. That sounds much better.
That's some wishful thinking, and I'm right behind you.
So yeah, you guys can
I
easily.
thought I was the optimistic one today.
Yeah.
It's the heat that's getting to me.
You guys can easily make your way back to your vehicle. Basically, the navigate roll that'll get Mark to make when he gets back will determine how close you can get the vehicles to your final destination. Like, you've got the coordinates, you've got a compass, you've got a map. You're not going to fail to get there. It's just a question of how close you'll be able to get the vehicles.
Don't call it final destination. We're trying not to.
I'm the game master. I can call it whatever I like.
Yeah, I suppose that's true too.
If we're stuck behind a big giant truck with logs or something in the outback, that's
We're going to take that as a sign, turn around, and go home.
I mean, I still, whenever I'm behind a logging truck, I'm like, oh god.
Yeah.
So Mark, if Miles can give me a navigate roll.
This traumatized a generation. That terrible
Mhm.
movie.
It was a great movie, but oh my god.
Oh, when I was a kid, I've actually seen a logging truck upset. We were coming home from school one day.
Oof.
Had to take a.
I just
detour
still
to get
have
around
plenty
it.
of friends that fear that specific death.
Yeah.
Alright,
Not pretty.
yeah.
7. Jeez.
That's why I didn't want to roll and wanted to wait for Mark to come back because he usually manages to get these rolls.
Yeah. He could have had my navigate score and still managed to get that.
So yeah, you guys kind of backtrack to your vehicles and start them up, start making your way. Basically, you're going to follow the canning trail a little bit to the northwest, and then kind of hook around Bungabini Well. At which point there's no roads; it's driving basically over sand. So it is slow going, but Miles manages to get you guys like onto some harder pack dirt, and you guys can get fairly close. Basically, you get to a point where you can kind of get eyes on what looks to be a small encampment.
Wait, hold on. Is this the same kind of small encampment we just saw with the crazy?
No, this one
We've
looks
not gone in a circle.
this one looks to be intact.
Sorry, where are we again on the map?
You will be arriving basically at the little red dot, which marks the camp. And you basically come up to a rise that kind of looks down on this camp. It's probably still about a mile or two away.
Chris, I'm looking for a red dot. I can't seem to find one on the map.
It's underneath the token.
Oh, it's under the token. Okay,
Yeah.
my bad.
It's covered by the green investigator.
The token represents you guys.
We could always flee toward Escape Well up to our north.
Fittingly named, I'm sure.
Yeah, except that we have to pass through Adverse Well first. That doesn't sound good.
So from your vantage point, you can see like this small encampment. Oh, hero. Actually, show you guys.
Chris, from far away, the encampment, it houses how many people? Like, guesstimate. Like 700 people or like a dozen?
Like a dozen. So as you kind of like, you guys aren't this close to it. This is just like kind of what you're seeing is there's like a couple of trucks, like 3 trucks. There's an actual like wooden building, and a small tent. And there's like 4 guys kind of guarding the tent.
I have a few questions about these guys. 1, do they have giant curved machetes? 2, do they have red bandanas on them? Or do they... What was the last one? No, those are the ones I wrote.
No, they do have rifles.
No weird masks or anything like that.
No weird masks or anything.
That's good. Just looking at the legend on our map. It says ancient blocks.
Yep, basically these...
Uh-huh.
Uh,
I figured that's what they were referring to. You just hadn't mentioned these massive blocks of stone, so I wanted to make sure that
yep.
they were actually there.
And yes, those are the kind of the standing stones that you saw in the McWeir photographs. Those are the like markers of the ancient city.
Evelyn will look at Mackenzie.
And everybody give me a listen roll.
And then get distracted.
For once, I listened to someone.
Nope.
I don't. I only missed it by 3. I'm going to spend luck on it.
Okay. All right. So Eugene, Evelyn, and Alvin, as you guys are standing there, and like there's the sound of the desert, like the winds and everything, but over the winds you can hear like this kind of like put 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 sound of an electric motor.
I thought you were going to say whistling, and I was about to yell to go to cover.
That's what I was expecting too, to be honest.
No, you can hear the sound of like basically an electrical generator running.
And that's coming from the encampment. It's not coming from elsewhere.
It's coming from the encampment.
I'm
Have
going
these
to
people
look
seen us?
around.
No, you guys are, like I said, you're about a mile or so away up on a little rise. Just kind of keeping an eye on things with binoculars.
Gotcha. So we can just barely hear the electrical generator.
Yep.
Gotcha. How many do you count? I'll ask whoever's holding the binoculars right now.
I mean, I see four. No, yeah, four outside right now, but I can't tell how many people are inside.
I was going to ask, how many does it look like the building would hold? And then I remembered New York, and it really doesn't matter how many the building will hold.
If they have a generator, what they have is way bigger than just that tent.
It does look a bit small to need electric lights. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, the building looks like it's about like 8 meters by 8 meters, so not super big, and the little tarpaulin over tent is smaller.
Yeah, they could make do with candles.
And
Be
the
a whole lot
idea,
easier than hauling a generator around.
and the idea is there's an underground city, right?
Yes, that was Arthur and my conjecture.
So they could just be underground.
Mm-hmm. Like New York.
I don't like that analogy, but it is accurate.
Mm. So the four outside, how are we going to deal with them?
Without making.
We don't know if they're
making-
hostile.
It's
We
true.
can just assume they're hostile.
Probably safe. Um,
I say that just because we have a civilian amongst us, right? Who might not be like, hey, let's just kill everyone to begin with.
Chris, do any of these guards look familiar from someplace else we've been?
No, they don't.
Are they of mixed heritages, or are they all look to be one kind of ethnicity? Or
They are all like European Australians.
I mean, I could try to tell them that I've brought gifts. Because I have. I don't know if they'd believe me, though.
Yeah, my only fear is that they open fire before you open your mouth.
That's a bit of a problem, yes. I don't know. Well, I don't know how close I'm supposed to get with them either. I don't know if this is considered close enough to the city or if I imagine it would want them closer.
All right, well, we have to get close somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So
Do we wait for the night?
I think that we... Chris, have we left our vehicles behind?
No, you guys are still with your vehicle. You may not want to take it too much closer because they may hear it, but...
Unless we want them to hear it and see how they react while we're still in a vehicle that can get away, as opposed to getting within shooting distance.
That's Not a bad idea, actually.
They have
They pick up
rifles, correct?
They do.
Rifles which could shoot out our tires and strand us here potentially.
Yeah, but then we come with cover of the car, no?
Which does wonders if they shoot out all our tires.
Right, but
We
they
can
must
still
have
hide.
they have their own trucks. We could take those potentially.
Assuming we're not badly outnumbered.
Assuming.
Well, if we're
But
that
it is a good
badly
point.
outnumbered and they're willing to shoot out the tires of our vehicles, what are they going to do with us if we're on foot?
I'm saying that we might,
Probably
if
the
we care
same.
more about stealth, stealth might be a better option. But
I mean, I can move up, definitely move up, but that won't necessarily tell me if they're aggressive or not until they find me. Right?
Chris,
Yes.
do they look nervous or what are their general disposition?
Give me a psychology roll.
Oh, they're paranoid.
I mean, they don't have their weapons, like their rifles are slung, like one or two of them, the rifles are like leaning up against like the building or the truck, whatever they're near. Like they're not ready. They're not like, on guard, rifles at the ready, raring to go. Like they're lackadaisical, but you can't get a sense as to how ready they might be.
Yeah, I failed, so I cannot assess precisely how good of an idea a surprise attack is.
Right. But they definitely don't have their weapons in any sort of readied form.
Yeah. Okay, show of hands. We only have ideas and no real concrete way to figure them out until they. Oh, it's cake time. You guys make the decision. I have to go sing a birthday song. I'll
Okay.
be back.
I mean, if we can do it without violence, that would be ideal. How do we lure them away?
Are we sure we want to go into their camp, or should we just go beyond them to see what's in the actual site?
We might go around. That might be a good idea, and it would help our recon.
Just to know
If
what we're
it's
dealing
an
with first.
underground location, like the ones in New York, or I guess you're there for those, or the ones in Egypt, then the entrance is probably in that building. When we were in New York, there was a shop, and they had a basement full of bad things. And while Luther and I were watching, just person after person after person after person kept going into the store, and no one was coming out again, and there was no way they all should have fit in there comfortably. So that was a bit of a giveaway. Pyramids, we ended up stuck in a tunnel, and I may have panicked a bit, and things happened. So I don't think scouting around above ground is going to tell us much unless they have two entrances, which is possible. It's worth looking. I'm just not expecting things to go our way. My
Do we know that
optimism may have bounced
it
out of
might
the
be an
truck.
abandoned city over here, and we need to find a high point if we want to do the ritual?
Chris, I'm going to look around the horizon. What's the highest point from here?
And probably where you guys are standing.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure about the highest point because we're
That's definitely
there.
gonna be a problem.
And this isn't, I mean, compared to where we've been before, this doesn't feel high. Maybe it is. It just doesn't feel that way because it was a bit more gradual, but if we want to go and do a circle around the area, that seems sensible. Miles, I have a question for you.
Hmm?
Well, we can hear the generator. I assume it's a generator right now. But they don't seem to have heard our trucks.
Perhaps at their end, being closer to the generator, our sounds our approach is being dampened.
That's very fair. I was going to say something about whether or not wind carries sound, but I was thinking about scent, I think, maybe. No, it makes sense. They wouldn't be able to hear us circling around them standing that close to the generator. You're right. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
No, not at all.
I knew there was something I had to be overlooking. This isn't my forte. What time is it, Chris?
It's probably about 1
What time
o'clock.
is it, Chris?
About 1 o'clock in the It's afternoon. probably about 1
What time
o'clock.
is it, Chris?
About 1
And
o'clock in
sunset
the
has
afternoon.
been
Probably
around
about
when?
1 o'clock. It's around 1 in the afternoon. Sunset is 7:30-ish at this point.
All right. Sorry
Okay.
about that.
It's okay. So we've got
What
about
did we decide?
6 hours until darkness, and
We Leroy Jenkins in, and Chris is narrating our deaths.
no, no.
Okay.
Eugene, I think, or Gary, one of them suggested that we drive around the outside to see if there's a second entrance. I think maybe it was you. I don't remember who it was.
I just
Somebody
said I
not-
volunteered my stealthedness if we needed.
And Evelyn was concerned that they'd be able to hear us if we circled them, and Miles was kind enough to point out that standing as close to the generator as they are, they're probably not going to hear us at all, which was reassuring.
It is.
So it's just worrying about whether or not we're going to kick up a lot of dust that they'll notice. But maybe
Well, physically, they might notice the dust, but they might not hear us if they're looking in the correct direction as well.
Right.
They
I mean,
don't care about us right now.
I don't have the binoculars, so as far as I know, they might all be sitting around playing cards. I don't know.
They're definitely chilling.
I could be so lucky.
Ooh, cheesecake got brought to me. Sorry.
Ooh.
Oh, lucky bugger.
Your kid
It's
already
before-
turned 15.
Oh, yeah. All of them did. A while ago.
In 13 years, not gonna be my turn.
The next
All right.
birthday is a 28th.
So let's
So,
drive around.
yeah.
Are we driving around all together?
We should drive around.
Then let's
I
do
think
that.
so.
All right. So yeah, and you guys are far enough away, and with the winds that periodically kick up, any sort of dust trail that you guys might leave will either be dispersed fairly quickly, or they'll just assume that it's dust and dirt and stuff. But as you guys drive around, you can give me spot hidden rolls. Whoever is keeping an eye out.
I would be driving, so I assume someone else is keeping watch from our vehicle. Unless you would like me paying attention to that as well.
You can pay attention to the road.
Road.
Or
That
lack
needs to be in
thereof.
quotes. Yeah. Road is in really heavy quotations there.
Right. So yeah, as you guys are kind of making your way around, kind of keeping your eye open for anything else, because think about it, like the pyramids did have a second entrance. That's the way that you guys got in. So it's not outside the realm of possibility, especially given the size of what this city might be. And sure enough, probably about 6.5 kilometers from the camp. Let's see. Gary spots it first, followed by Alvin and then Evelyn. But all of you spot a cave entrance in the side of like one of the hills, for lack of a better term. But around it is some very heavily weathered small stone monoliths.
Similar?
Similar. And if you weren't specifically looking for something out of the ordinary, you'd probably just write them off as just like sandblasted stone. But because you're specifically looking for things that are a little bit out of the ordinary, the way that the sand is like resting on these stones, you can tell that there are carvings on them. And they seem to be kind of marking this cave entrance, and there are no tire tracks leading up to the cave.
All right, so we park a little bit away. And this is where we use. Alvin's going to suggest that he stealths to take a better look, unless there's some way we can get a vantage point in.
Not really anywhere where you can get a vantage point.
Right, so Alvin's going to try to stealth through.
All right.
Sounds good to me.
Unless you guys have another plan.
You are much stealthier than I am. I mean, other than you, Miles, I think, is the only one who has any real solid experience in trying to sneak up on something. So maybe take him with you, just in case.
Sure.
Are
you up,
getting
Miles?
Sure.
leery about people wandering off on their own.
All right. So Miles and Alvin, you guys can give me stealth rolls.
I don't want you to run into some crazy naked man all alone.
Again.
Again. Exactly. No one needs to do that twice.
So you guys make your way up. Alvin is kind of keeping to the shadows. Miles is doing his best. Gets kind of like bogged down in the sand for a minute or two. The sand here is very loose. You can tell like nothing has traveled this way to pack down the sand in quite some time. And as you get closer to this cave and these monoliths are significantly smaller than the ones at the camp. Like some of these are like only like 2 or 3 feet protruding out of the desert. But there are definitely carvings on them. And they seem to be marking this fairly wide cave, probably about a good 50 feet across.
Chris, is this cave missable? And are people like specifically avoiding it? Or is it just like oh, it's big enough and it's weird enough, and because there's another area that might have bigger stones that they might just have walked past this one.
Yeah, it's definitely not missable, but it doesn't look like an entrance to anything. It just looks like a cave with a
All right.
kind of a sloping floor.
Oh, okay, so we're gonna try to. I give Miles a nod, saying that I'm gonna get closer, and he can come with me.
I'm gonna hang back for now and just be a sentry for.
Okay. So yeah, as you make your way, like I said, the
Chris, if he's gonna do that, I give him a motion of like, take out your weapon. Like, let's not get caught off.
gotcha, get ready sort of thing.
And I do that.
Okay. So the cave, it is, like I said, it's about 50 feet across. It's more wide than it is high. Like, for example, you wouldn't be able to drive your truck in. It's probably like 50 feet wide, but only maybe like 5.5 feet high. So it's like very narrow curve into the darkness. And it does slope. It's a fairly steep slope. It is sandy. And it goes down, like you can see at the very, very far end of your flashlight. It kind of like opens up into a floor and what looks like a tunnel, probably about 100 feet down this slope.
So I don't outpace Miles. I'm going to double back and give him a sign to get closer, and then I'm going to go down myself.
Okay. So you're gonna.
Yeah, I'm hoping that creates like a chain reaction that everyone can move in X amount of space, right, as I move forward.
Okay, so you move forward, you get Miles to kind of come to the entrance to the cave, and everybody else kind of moves up to behind Miles, sort of thing.
Yeah, behind him, but there's enough room between those two that he can make an escape, and the other people have a heads up, right?
Gotcha. Right.
Is that safe overall? Does that make sense for everyone?
Mm-hmm.
I'd say safe-ish, but that's the better that we can have.
Safe-ish is it's the only adjective we can go for right now.
Yeah, it's like
I'll be toward
optimal.
the backs, so I'm closer to the vehicles since I'm a getaway driver.
All right. Alvin, you can give me a climb roll.
That was not expected.
Oh, what now?
I rolled a 99, Chris.
Ooh.
Oh, ouch.
All right.
I have snapped my fibula.
Right. So Alvin starts making his way down this slope, and it's a very, very sandy slope. And you get about halfway down, and you realize that you're not going to be able to climb back up. And you're like, huh. And then you kind of lose your footing. And from up top, Miles, since you're kind of at the mouth of the cave, you can just see the... Oh. Okay. So Miles can see the flashlight kind of like spinning wildly as Alvin goes like ass over tea kettle down the remaining 50 feet of the slope.
Do I get a reflex save?
What do you think that climb roll was for?
You should.
Not climbing, obviously.
The good news is you only take 1 point of damage.
Really could have called it a falling roll.
At 99, you could have called it anything except for a roll.
Except for climbing.
But Alvin, you find yourself in a tunnel. It's kind of cool. There is a breeze. It's actually significantly cooler than it is above ground by probably about a good 20 degrees cooler down here.
Oh,
And you around you, just by your flashlight, you see what looks like a very large tunnel. Definitely not natural.
Chris, before my curiosity takes over me, I'm that practical guy who checks to make sure. What do I have that's broken after that fall?
Nothing. I mean, you have to pick
Right.
your flashlight up off the ground. But...
And now I'm gonna try to look if I can make contact with Miles.
I
Your
mean,
ego's probably solidly bruised.
that's true. Yeah, Miles is up at the top, so he's like 100 feet away, so you kind of have to shout a little bit. And it does echo, and at the same time, not quite echo. It's got like kind of a dead sound to it. Like you would expect it to
I hear
echo.
him? Miles,
Yeah, I mean, as long as you guys shout.
I turn my
Miles.
attention. What?
The footing's terrible here, but there is a larger cave this way. Can you drop a rope or something to help us get back up?
If I have a rope, sure.
There would be rope amongst your supplies.
Chris, I'm gonna hang out here until we step. It's the wrong term. It's not a beachhead, even though there's a lot of sand here. I just want to make sure that there's a way for me to get up. If I need to run back, I can get up relatively quickly using that rope.
Okay.
Because if I go forward and I run back and there's no rope, I'm fucked.
Yep.
Is that a fair assessment of this climb? Like, if I go down that tunnel and there's like fish people chasing me and I try to go up, there's no way I'm getting up that without help, right?
There is no way you're getting up that without a rope.
Okay.
And I will get the rope and I will secure it to the best of my ability that helps him.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so Miles, basically you get like 3 coils of rope. Start tying them together, secure one to one of the trucks, I guess, is probably the best. Kind of like toss it down.
You can't secure it in the tunnel? There's nothing that like a rock or anything that you could secure it to? It has to go all the way outside?
You can secure it to whatever.
Oh, I'm sorry. I understood that we were securing it to the truck. My bad.
Yeah.
I ideally secure it to something that'll hold 5 people or 6. 6?
Yeah, 6. In the meantime, Alvin, as you kind of play your flashlight around, it is a large tunnel. Like the ceiling is probably about a good 20, 30 feet high. It's like 50 feet across. It definitely looks constructed. There is an extremely thick layer of dust. Like the dust is probably a good 6 inches deep. And the tunnel goes as far as your flashlight shows, just straight.
And I know that flashlights are bad at sneaking, so there is literally no way I can advance without one, right?
There's a little bit of light coming from the cave, but once you start going down this tunnel, it's going to be pitch dark.
So there goes stealth, at which point in time I'm going to ask the people to join me, I guess, because there's no strength in numbers at that point. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna join back
Is
up.
it a from the top of the tunnel? Is it a tunnel or is it more of a cavern?
It's a tunnel.
Are you asking if it's chewed like the other monoliths while we were on our way here?
No.
But now you do.
More. Now I'm worried about it. Thanks. No, I was wondering more if it seems to be like, is it wide like a cavern, or is it more like the tunnels under the pyramids.
The tunnel down where Alvin is?
That's what she's yelling down to him, yeah.
Yeah. So it's about 50 feet wide, about 20 feet high, and goes as far as his flashlight light will carry.
Forever.
He doesn't see the end of it.
So that's definitely tunnel, not cavern. It's not wide enough compared to the other dimensions. Before Evelyn goes down, then she's going to get the coffee and alcohol that
Okay.
she brought.
All right. So
Not
yeah,
to make anyone jealous, but this cheesecake is delicious. It deserves to be said on air.
we actually we had somebody comment on one of our Pathfinder videos because I was in the process of making homemade beans, and I'd mentioned it during the game, and somebody commented like, "Oh, I want to come have supper at your place, like homemade beans." So,
Oh, if only they knew how you'd cook.
yeah.
They wouldn't just settle for beans.
All right. So with the use of the rope, it's easy enough to get down. It is, assuming somebody tests it, it is a little bit of a struggle to get up, but it's not insurmountable now with the ropes.
Well, I'm going to need somebody to help me carry my goods. I don't want to call them offerings.
So who all is going down into the tunnel?
I mean, Alvin's leading, so that goes without saying.
Unfortunately, I think I have to.
Should one of us stay behind just to make sure nothing bad happens to the rope?
I mean, I understand the impulse for sure.
I mean,
I can always help carrying stuff.
Robert will say, like, I can stay behind to watch the rope. I mean, I don't know what's...
That might be the best idea.
I mean...
Yeah.
We've got enough food and water and stuff that, I could wait here for days if need be, so...
Oh, we're definitely not carrying enough with us to stay down there for days, though. So if tomorrow evening comes along and we haven't come out yet, we probably need your help.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you.
Does this seem at all like the blocks that have fascinated so many people that have come out here?
I mean, these are very similar to the ones that Arthur and I found.
But the ones you've two found were the ones back there, or were they in a different spot too?
No, those were the coordinates that we had.
Okay.
So this wasn't. I know maybe over the last few years the winds have, uncovered this area.
The opening does seem a little short.
So, I mean, I'll get some rubbings and stuff, and get out the photography
Chris,
equipment.
we didn't try to interpret the writing on the monoliths outside, right?
Nope.
No, we did not.
So as you guys make your way down into this tunnel, it is cool, Basically, upstairs it's about 32 degrees. Down here it's about 14 degrees. And like the floor and the walls are covered in like this like 4 to 6 inch layer of dust.
Is it normal if I don't see anything?
Can you see the token down here?
I see the Game Master token.
Yep, that represents the party.
I see darkness and black.
Yeah, that's all I see too. I don't see a token.
And the player doesn't like the name of the map.
Yeah, that's a little disturbing.
Yeah, like if I zoom out, I just see black rectangle and then
Do you see a
I
token
see
now?
an arrow that you're pointing to,
Nope.
but there's nothing that's lit up around it. It's
I just saw a blue arrow briefly and now nothing again. I see
Yeah.
tokens for our characters, like dots with our names, but that's it.
Just our mice zooming around.
Yeah, like I see Chris's and Anita's. I'm going to
See an
refresh
orange
and see if that
rectangle?
changes anything.
No, it just
considering you're not the only one who sees that.
yeah, it's a
I don't
set.
think it's you.
It's a setting I got to do on my end.
Yeah, refresh did not do anything.
Can you see the token now?
Yep,
You do see the
that's
token,
it.
but nothing around it.
Okay, perfect.
Just the token.
Yep.
That's
Yeah, I
perfect.
see
Is
a
not the
giant
word I would
magnifying
use.
glass.
Yep.
Perfect is not the right word.
I don't think that word means what you think it means.
So yeah, so behind you, 100 feet up, is the thin sliver of light from the cave, and in front of you is this dust-filled tunnel that goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
But as far as we can tell, it doesn't branch. It's just straight.
It is just straight as far as your light shows.
Then we go.
As we walk, Evelyn will say, "We probably should have taken a look at the etchings." And Chris, you said there were carvings on the walls down here?
No, the walls are completely covered in dust.
Oh. I will poke one to see how thick the dust is.
It's about 4 inches deep, but the wall behind it does not feel like stone. It feels it feels like metal.
Okay, that's not as bad as I thought it was.
Yeah. So
Evelyn does, however, yank her hand back with a little yelp, and then
what's
kind
wrong?
of look at her fingertips and rub them together and go, "Oh, that's
What
it's
happened?
not what I thought." It doesn't feel like stone, and at first it was a little unnerving to feel something smooth, but I think it was metal. Um.
Metal?
Mm-hmm.
Chris, we're gonna. Can we clear off some of this side?
Yep.
Is this a metal? Are we in a metal?
It is.
Tube.
It is a metal tunnel. The wall is metal.
That's not an ancient city.
Does that sound? Does that metal look like it has been made with modern technique, wielding and stuff, or is it ununderstandable?
It is a solid sheet of metal.
All the way.
Yes.
That make that might be possible.
You could make this?
I'm not sure that anyone could. Like, there'd be lines where the metal panels meet, wouldn't there?
Chris, when you shine the light on the cleared metal, like, is it a? I know it feels like metal and it's hard, but does it have a color other than steel?
Kind of like a faintly bluish steel.
Did we bring a metallurgist with us?
Sorry, my mistake. It is a white metal with a smoky charcoal hue.
I don't know if that's better or worse, Chris.
People could make geology rolls.
Well, I won't.
Is geology its own science, or is it a separate skill?
It is its own science.
All right,
Ah,
I don't have anything. I just have biology 1%.
Yep. So yeah, I think everybody has basic science at 1%. So you never know; somebody might get lucky.
Oh, I got the
20
one,
off
but not
isn't bad. No way.
did you just roll one?
I just rolled a 1.
Yes,
My
you
character
did.
is fucked tomorrow
Ridiculous.
night. This is to make up for all my terrible dice rolls last
Someone
night.
rolled a 2.
Holy shit! I just rolled a 2.
Alvin! Spend the
I
one
can
luck,
spend
man.
one luck, Chris.
Spend
if
the
I
one
spend
luck.
a luck, I don't get it trained, right? I don't have a gold star next to me.
Right. If you don't succeed in the roll, you don't get the training in it.
Damn, so close. How often in this game will I roll a 2 and fail?
All right. Evelyn, though, probably from time like you spent hanging around with Luther, and talking about new things on the horizon. Something about this. That's titanium.
I don't think I know the word in 1920s.
That's a. And Evelyn will kind of like stand there, kind of caressing the wall for a second.
Yep. So,
Kind of-
important note, from what Luther has told you, titanium has never been used outside of a laboratory setting, ever.
This should not be here.
A giant metal tunnel? Yeah, we get that.
Well, no. This, she'll kind of tap her knuckle on it. This looks like something, a metal. So I used to talk to Luther about some of his time as a pilot and a bit about engines and the mechanically sort of things that he liked. And there was a new metal that they were looking at using that he had read about in some, I don't even know, journal, magazine, I'm not sure, called titanium. And this is the right color. But titanium hasn't actually been used anywhere yet. It's only in labs. They haven't actually put anything to the test. It was one of these hopeful science of the future type articles. I'm going to fish around in my belongings and pack and whatever, and try to find something that's pretty hard. The hardest thing I have, whether it's a pocket knife or
A cursed diamond necklace.
ritual dagger. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what might Evelyn have on her that's metallic.
Okay.
And then I'm going to try to scratch it.
It would take some doing.
Because
It's basically about as hard as steel.
Scratch. Is it? I thought titanium was a lot stronger.
No, actually, titanium is about the same strength as steel, but it is it is lighter than steel for the same density, and it is
Gotcha.
it's non-magnetic, and it's corrosion resistant.
And its melting point is much higher.
Yes.
The scratches, the surface scratches are easy to make, but definite scratches, it's not. It's hard.
Yep.
See, it's definitely not silver. Because it wouldn't take nearly this much effort.
It is the 9th most abundant mineral on Earth.
Ooh. But it looks... It's got the right coloring. The way it was described.
Right. So creepy tunnel made out of creepy material.
Well, creepy tunnel made a while ago out of a metal that was barely more than wishful thinking 6 months ago. Yes. Has anyone seen any seams yet?
No.
No join marks, no weld spots or anything where it's been fused together. Just one long tube, like it's been I don't know how they make things like this. Like the inside of a gun barrel or a rifle barrel, where it's just, what, extruded in one long piece, as opposed to
Chris, at that description, I
welded
looked
with
down the tunnel. Are we in a
seamless
giant barrel?
Fuck, I hope not.
I mean, it's not inconceivable.
It occurred to me as I was saying it too. I'm like, oh no. Oh no. And she'll be like looking at Alvin and Miles as she's saying like that makes sense, right? How I'm describing it makes sense.
What, that we're in the giant barrel of a tube gun or something like that?
No,
I
well,
don't think anything you said
yes.
is necessarily wrong. I don't think asking if it makes sense is fair.
Okay, granted. But more that it seems to be one solid piece as opposed to sheets of it fastened together.
I mean, I don't know anything about metals, but if there was a giant block of a metal, if this entire mountain was a giant block of metal and something dug through that, you wouldn't see seams either. You just have to polish the outsides, right?
Yes. Yes. I'm not suggesting necessarily that it's, that 3 feet beyond this wall, that there's nothing or rock. It might just be more metal, but more that it's not like someone lined it the way we would line something with metal.
Right. Does it
Like the
change that we're
inside of
going
the...
forward? Is it
No.
dangerous, this metal?
No.
So is
I
it
mean,
more or less creepy than walls made out of dream stuff? Because we've done that too.
I'd say that was creepier.
Right. So we keep going
I
saying there is worse out there than walls of metal.
don't think I would call it creepier, to be honest. Because this is actually... This metal is here real. It's something that people in laboratories around the world have access to. It's something that will undoubtedly end up being used by the great war machines in the future. This is a real thing that to everyone else is brand new. And yet we're standing in a long, unblemished tube of it. And I do, strangely, find that creepier. Because this isn't something that was dreamed up by one of us.
Well, congratulations,
This
Evelyn. I
this
am
isn't
now
a
creeped out as well.
this isn't a strange place that's only accessible to people who have read the wrong things. This stuff is in laboratories and should not be here,
In this quantity.
especially in this quantity. I'm not sure. To be honest, I don't know if this much of it should be anywhere, all put together.
The relic they got out from this dig site here, it seems to be impossible technology-wise, so that might be a link to it. The relic fossils so old that they predated like humans. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a link between those two things.
Slavkovsky first hat trick yesterday.
So as you guys continue walking along, as you talk about these tunnels, and they go on. It goes on for pretty close to a mile, you figure. The only light is your flashlight. The sound of your footsteps is like kind of deadened by the dust. But up ahead, you notice three things.
I'm playing D&D now.
The tunnel branches. It goes off to what your compass tells you would be the northwest, or it continues straight ahead. The second thing you notice is there is a chasm right where that branching point is. Probably about 15 feet across square. It takes up the entire intersection. On your side, there is a giant slab of metal, probably about a good 8 inches thick. Again, as wide as the entire corridor. From the branch off to the northwest, you hear the sound of a generator. Distant, but recognizable.
We've heard it before.
Yep.
So I just want to make sure the chasm is blocking us, or is it just in one of the directions? I can't quite put my brain around it. How you described it? Sorry.
Kind of this intersection here, the chasm takes up the entire intersection.
Right. So there's a hole in the middle.
There's a hole in the floor, dear Liza, dear Liza.
And if I flash
And
my
the-
floodlight down, there's no end to that.
You do not
Because
see
why
anything.
would there be?
But as you get closer to the chasm, you can hear wind sounds down below.
Sorry, Chris,
course
does
we
that
do.
slab of metal cover the chasm in such a way to act as a bridge so we can cross?
It looks like it would if it was like, as you're kind of like looking around and Alvin is looking, the slab of metal does have what looks like a series of gears. And yes, Smiles, it does look like it would basically could be maneuvered like with the gears, because it's a big, huge honking piece of metal. Could be maneuvered over, so it would function like a bridge over this. So if you think of it as like the cover to a pit trap, it is currently in the open position. You could try to maneuver it over into the closed position.
And okay, so the chasm cuts across the piece of the Y that we're in.
Yeah, it basically takes up the entire center
Okay.
of the Y.
Okay. And which direction did we hear the faint sound of electrical motor?
It would be off to the left on the map.
Off to the west.
Yep.
Okay.
And I'll get a group luck roll. So whoever has the lowest luck.
Chris, just a weird
Yep.
question. You mentioned gears and stuff. That assumes a mechanism, but from your description, we don't see a way to operate the mechanism, just gears that would allow it to move. So we need to get our hands on the plate to lever it to be able to use the gears to move it around? Or is there a mechanism that we just don't see? Yeah.
You can give me spot hidden or mechanical repair. Who does have the current lowest luck currently?
I
Mine's
have
52.
39. I have 39 right now.
My luck is 27.
You're the lucky one.
So yeah, Elvin, you take a quick look around. You don't see anything that looks like any sort of mechanism or anything. It looks like the series and gears and everything. I mean, basic science. Like they would make the load that you're lifting if you try to move this thing significantly lighter. But it's probably going to take all of you. And yes, I'll get Miles to give me a luck roll since this is currently the lowest. Oof. Nice.
I'm sorry, what roll now?
I was just getting Miles to give me a group luck check, which he succeeded at. So, but yeah, Alvin, and as you're looking at this, it does look like this slab. Basically, it's got the gears where it kind of attaches to the shaft, and the side that is closest to the direction it came from. Basically, the side opposite the gears has what looks like an intricate series of latches. So it can basically be swung over and then latched into place. I mean, you don't know why there would be, such an intricate locking mechanism in such a huge chunk of metal over a completely and utterly harmless, lightless shaft.
With no bottom.
And a wind sound.
You mean a whistling
The fact that
sound?
you keep saying innocent makes
Dropped
me
to
totally
nowhere.
believe you. Like, what?
Nothing ominous about it at all. What are you talking about? lightless drop into nowhere. And just to clarify, Chris.
Yep.
Currently, that slab is not actually over the gaping hole at all, right?
Correct.
Okay, so it's not like it's currently like linking the other two sections of the Y together.
Nope.
Currently, nothing is linked. Oh,
Nope.
grand.
I mean, you could try to jump it.
How wide is it?
big is it? How big?
It's about a 15-foot leap.
No! I'm just getting used to running on both legs being equally useful. No.
I am not an Olympic champion jumper. No.
Well, I don't think we should go that way. And she'll point to the west where the electrical generator sound is coming from. I think that way is probably where we should go. Although, does it seem weird to anyone else that they don't seem to know about the tunnel that we're in right now?
They don't seem to care.
I mean, if they found this spot, this corner intersection, wouldn't they have gone down both tunnels? I mean, they've been out here for ages from the sounds of it. I mean, from the descriptions that, Carter's been out here for 4 years at least, and who knows before that. Why?
Are you trying to assign sane reasonings to the insane?
No, but I am sort of wondering what's between where we are and where the guards are that has kept them from reaching this intersection. Like, it's obviously not just a long straight tube like the one we just walked down, because otherwise they would have been here at some point in the last 4 years. Right?
Chris, is there
They'd have lights strung this far along in 4 years.
there you've said that there's a lot of dust everywhere
Yep.
because no one's been here. Is that remain true?
Yep. Does not look like anyone's been down this way.
So whatever they're interested in, I'm guessing, is between where we are right now and where they have their opening to the surface. That sounds horrible. Because they haven't bothered with anything down here.
Chris, on any side of the passageway, there's still dust?
There's still dust, yep. Interestingly enough, though, there is no dust at all on the parts of the shaft you can see. It looks like there's basically there's dust in the branch you're in. There's dust on the branch off to the left. There's dust on the branch on the other side of the chasm. But the interior of the shaft looks like it has been basically sandblasted. It is clean and pristine down that shaft.
Huh.
That's what she says.
That is what I said. Actually, I didn't notice the interior didn't have any dust, and that
Wait,
is weird.
the two entranceways, if we assume that where the machine sound is coming from is another entranceway, that's filled with dust. Where we are coming in from, the other entranceway, that's full of dust. The only thing that's not full of dust is where these two could potentially be going.
Mhm.
That no one has been to in hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah, basically. They haven't made it here yet.
Chris,
For
there's no
some.
protrusions. There's nothing that we can do to get across without using that bridge, right? We can't tie like a rope to swing around or anything like that, right?
You could try to jump it.
No, nothing to tie to. And we didn't bring a 20-foot bridge with us.
When will we learn our lesson to bring 20-foot bridges with us?
We should always bring a 20-foot section of lumber with us. Always. Yes, that would be not even a little bit inconspicuous or hard to get around corners. We'll just bring a portable bridge everywhere.
Alvin looks at the party and is like, I don't know what to do here. I mean,
if we're going to move past this point, and I think we need to. I could be wrong, but I think we do. We should go. I think we should go away from the electrical sound first. Mainly because I don't want to run into more people with guns. Even if all we find out going down the right side passage is that there's another entrance to the surface, wonderful. That gives us another escape route. Possibly.
Does somebody have some stuff to map our travels?
Well, so far it's been one long tunnel that we've left a trail through the dust. There really hasn't been any need to mark a tunnel yet.
yeah, as far as we can tell, this, what did you call it, adamantium or whatever? Like it
Titanium.
right, whatever. I mean, it doesn't leave a mark.
I know. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, if you scratch it hard enough, kind of like if you scratched really determined on steel, you could leave a mark. But right now, and Evelyn will gesture back up the tunnel. Behind us, we have left a trail in the dust, right? Or is that weirdly not?
Oh no, there's a very clear
Okay, good. Just making sure. I didn't want to turn around and find out that our path.
Yeah, the M. Night Shyamalan twist is we were all dead to begin with.
The dust is untouched behind us. I mean, we've left a pretty clear path, and there's been no side branches to the tunnel so far anyway, until right now. So we haven't had to mark a path.
Everybody give me a listen roll.
Oh no.
Chris, while we're figuring out the listen roll, like as far as player can tell, other than jumping this, there is no real way across. We have to attack from the other side, right?
No, Miles is pretty certain that if enough people put their backs into it, you could probably just lever it up and over.
Swing the slab.
Gary, you hear a whistling sound coming from the shaft.
Oh no.
As in, like whistling a tune, or whistling like wind or something?
Like whistling like the sound of an oncoming train.
I'd be more concerned if I heard a song.
Like a train.
Either one seems bad at this point. We've
I'm
got
just
nowhere to go.
gonna mention it to my my fellow investigators. Sounds like a
Alvin
drink.
looks around. Alvin looks around, really not comfortable with the information that was just shared.
Yep, Evelyn's just kind of
let's
frozen in
go
place
back.
for a second. Go back where?
Gary, what direction is that train going? Is it coming towards us?
Chris, is it?
Yes, it is.
It is.
From
So,
where?
like, whatever. I mean, it's a straight corridor. You just said it.
It is.
Like,
It is
coming
coming
from down?
It is coming from down, and it is getting closer.
Like, I would use the ancient wisdom of let's fuck off.
Right. So I grab people's arms, whoever is nearby, and I start pulling them down the tunnel that we just came in through.
Yeah, that running sounds like a good idea. I think. If we don't have anything to hide under except dust.
Chris, I'm too out of breath to answer, and I'm just running.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I'm the only one small enough to be able to hide under dust.
Right. So as you guys basically start running down the hallway, that whistling sound gets louder and louder and louder. And then, let's see, who has the lowest speed?
I don't know if we adjusted her speed ever since she has a.
Basically, who's got the lowest dex? I think it's Evelyn.
Oh,
I'm
25,
75.
I would imagine.
75 for me.
75?
Yeah, I'd be a
Ugh.
crappy hunter if I had a shitty dex.
Yeah, that's true. Miles is outpacing me like 3 of his steps to my 1.
Right.
I have 80.
Jesus.
Right. So yes. So Gary is the lead, followed by Miles, followed by Alvin, followed by Eugene, followed by Evelyn.
Getting the fuck away is my style.
Should get points in sprinting.
So I'm going to need Evelyn to give me a strength check. Because you're more than 200 yards away, you get a bonus die.
Okay. Do I just click on STR or the number? Or...
Yep, just STR.
Okay. Bonus die. Okay. No.
Okay. So yes, as Evelyn is in the back, you feel like this sucking wind, and you find yourself held in place.
Chris, do you mean she's like
she's
like her forward momentum and her backward momentum from being sucked in are canceled out, or is she like hold personed?
Like something behind her is inhaling and sucking her back.
And it's going as fast as she's pushing herself forward, so
Yep.
she's not moving.
Oh.
Chris, or I guess the question is for Evelyn. You're in the back, right? I'm assuming you say something.
Oh. As she's watching you guys get farther away, yeah, she's gonna yell for help.
Is she looking back?
I mean, as much as her...
I guess more importantly, does Evelyn have a flashlight to look back with?
I don't think I was carrying a flashlight.
Okay. All right. The good news is you can't see.
I don't think I have one on my gear sheet.
The good news then is you
I
can't
don't have
see
any
the thing
gear on my
behind
gear
you.
sheet. That's good.
That's great.
No, I have I have a gun. And
Evelyn's got a gun.
other than that, she's got coffee and alcohol.
Okay. All right. Evelyn, so Evelyn, I suppose, probably does let out a yelp as this sucking wind kind of holds her in place. Starts actually dragging her slightly backwards.
So Alvin looks back, sees Evelyn running forward, but not actually moving. Chris, do we have any amount of rope? Let me see my gear.
Make a luck roll. See if you have rope on you. You do have rope on you.
Oh wow, 53 on 53. I do have a small length of rope on me. Chris, I'm going to run towards her, and when I realize that there's a suction coming that way, I'm going to throw the rope. Interestingly enough, I'm hoping that the rope also gets suction, so it kind of hangs out more straight than otherwise.
It does.
Well, that's both great and horrifying.
Yep, it is.
And I hope that she can grab it, and then I'm trying to pull her with me, and I'm yelling ahead of us. I need some arms.
All right.
Guys, I need some arms.
I stop to go and help.
Okay.
While cursing my cousin in Yiddish.
All right. So
I'm gonna try to grab the rope and pull with them.
Right.
I'd be cursing him in Yiddish too if I could speak it.
So I'm going to need another strength check from Evelyn, this time with 2 bonus dice.
Okay. Do you need anything for me to grab that rope?
Nope. It's basically it's unspooling right towards you as this sucking wind, and that whistling sound is getting closer.
Oh. Okay.
Right. You are still being pulled backwards.
I am, but hopefully I've got the rope now.
You do have the rope. You're not making any headway.
What would I have needed to do to get headway?
You need to beat what I roll for a success. So I got a hard success, so you would have needed to get an extreme success.
Yikes.
And the hairs on the back of your neck are standing up as something is coming up behind you.
Not so much standing up as being sucked behind me, but sure.
Yep. Right. Gonna need one more strength check.
Do I still have the 2 dice?
You do, because you've got the rope and people hauling on it. Ooh, you're gonna need an extreme success. Okay.
I don't think 2 counts as an extreme.
Nope, it is a hard success. So yeah, you're trying, but whatever it is that's sucking you back is getting closer, and the force of the winds on your body is getting stronger and stronger. And you're pretty sure that if you don't get out of here soon, things are going to be really, really bad. Those of you who are helping Evelyn, is anybody looking down the tunnel behind her?
I mean, our hands are on the rope, but we're facing that way.
Okay.
At least Alvin's facing that way. I'm not going to speak for the other characters. I feel like we're in a tug of war, right? So
it is very much a tug of war.
Kinda.
Right. So Alvin, give me make a luck roll.
I felt like I've spoon the rope around my arms to make sure that I don't let it go. Try to
I am very, very lucky, which should mean good things, not bad things.
You are very, very focused on Evelyn, and you've kind of blocked out whatever it is that might be coming up behind her.
Focused on my terrified face.
Yep. All right.
Oh no, Gary had to reboot.
Oh. All right.
That's one way to skip a roll.
I mean, I can't say anything. My computer decided it was gonna restart this morning at a bit of an inconvenient time. So,
Yeah. All right. So who all is helping Evelyn? I know Alvin is, Eugene is,
I will.
Miles is,
I do too.
and Gary is as well. All right. So basically, two of you are going to give Evelyn a bonus die, and then of the other two, one of you can make a strength roll with a bonus die, and if you succeed, you will basically increase her level of effect.
So you're basically asking us who's the strongest.
Yes.
I have a 17.
Ivan is 75.
Apparently, I'm at putts at 65.
70.
Okay. All right. So we'll say Alvin and Miles are basically grabbing Evelyn and pulling her. Actually, probably, yeah, that makes sense. And then Eugene and Miles, did I say? But basically, Eugene make a strength roll with a bonus die. Evelyn make a strength roll with 2 bonus dice.
And we are 3 to help her.
One is helping Eugene, and one is yes. Okay. Okay. All right. So Evelyn got an irregular, but because of Eugene, that's going to bump that. So with like a final pull, you guys managed to get Evelyn free of this wind vortex. That whistling sound is extremely close now. Probably just at the far end of your flashlight vision. You can see what looks like a little swirling kind of circle of dust.
Run!
To the hill.
You guys run. You get back to the cave entrance, and basically where it kind of like widens out slightly as it kind of angles up. You feel something rush overhead. You don't see anything other than a disturbance in the dust.
What the fuck was that?
The whistling goes with it, and all is quiet behind you.
Evelyn is going to grab whoever is closest to her and just kind of cling to them, sobbing hysterically. So I don't know whose chest I'm clutched to, but
I will offer myself in comfort.
Evelyn doesn't even realize who's who. Right now, it's solid person, not sucking vortex, and that's really all that matters.
Chris, if I remember your earlier description, you described these tunnels as being more wide than there are tall.
Yep.
How much room above us was there?
He said they were like 20 feet tall, weren't they?
Yep. It was close enough that you could feel this wind kind of like fly by overhead. Nothing actually touched you, but you could feel a wind move overhead. But you didn't see anything.
Okay, now I'm just worried, by the way, for our rope, because we're not getting out of here without it. So I'm going to continue to jog to the rope to make sure it's there.
Yeah, it's still there. You can hear the whistling on the wind off in the distance.
So what was that? Is it like a laboratory or?
Folks can give me a Cthulhu Mythos roll.
Wow.
Well, for me, this
My luck
foundry
is
is
Foundry's Foundry.
I was gonna say you need your luck to balance for tomorrow night, so that's okay.
My luck has swung from one extreme to the other.
Yep.
My dice are making no decisions.
Perfectly balanced as all things should be.
No, nobody has any idea. Although, Alvin, since you're checking the rope, give me a spot hidden roll.
I thought that was a good thing. Oh shit, our NPC dude.
Yep.
38.
No, he's fine. But as you're kind of like checking the rope, kind of like playing the flashlight around a little bit, on the ceiling, what wasn't there before, you see this like a large footprint.
Wait, I'm sorry. On the ceiling?
On the ceiling.
As if someone was running on the ceiling, there's a footprint.
Or if like something flying basically kind of bounced off it or pushed off of it.
That has a much better explanation. Thank you.
And it does look an awful lot like the footprint you found that had basically smushed the truck into nothingness.
That, however, speaks to size, and that is bad. I walk back to the group and I share my, for the lack of a better word, findings.
Okay.
Okay, but on the upside, they seem to be going this way, not the scraped way.
Evelyn will look up from Miles's chest, probably still shaking a bit. What? That
Well, I mean, it came down this tunnel, didn't turn around, so it just looked like it was trying to get out. So it doesn't seem to get down the other tunnel, is what I'm saying.
and so because
And
it's out.
that means if we make our
No.
way to the other tunnel, it might not attack us. Right? It might, the next time or the next one, it might go up and down this tunnel, but we'll be in the other tunnel.
Or maybe there are two of them down there.
Or
Or
a whole
more.
family.
Yes, but correct me if I'm wrong, we still need to go down that tunnel.
Mm-hmm. I just need a minute. that felt a lot more personal than the rituals or the cultists or anything else. That felt more like the painting. But yes, we do need to keep going. And it's that direction. I just need a few seconds, that's all. Thank you for the rope. I do appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, let's carry more rope.
Rope is good. I like rope. Rope is very good. And we should have rope for the Y, the chasm. We should have rope. Because whoever gets across first should have one end, and then whoever's going last holds it on the other so that everybody else has something they can grab when they go over. Right? Rope is good. Liking rope a lot right now.
Tris, how broken is she? I've seen her pretty crazy.
She doesn't look broken necessarily. She looks shaken up.
Yeah, not
She
not
looks
as
like
bad as
someone
she's
who
been.
almost got. She looks like someone who almost got hit by a car and knows it.
Right. So you guys are making your way back to the Y junction.
Sounds like it.
Well, I'm gonna ask the group before we do. Like, do we give up or do we go to the Y junction and keep going?
We can't give up. If we gave up every time one of us got a little
Flustered.
nervous.
Almost
Flustered.
killed.
I like flustered better.
The
I
question
like
is,
flustered a lot better.
what are we hoping to find?
We need to find the city.
Where we need to enact the ritual to close everything off.
We need to find that too. I have things to drop off. And then it occurs to Anita the player that I don't know if Evelyn's told everyone else. Or
She
if
has
she
not,
only
just as
told
an FYI.
Eugene.
She absolutely has not.
She only told Gene. Oh no.
Told who about what?
I have the reason we're carrying coffee and alcohol is because I have to drop them off here. There's an ancient city that is mentioned a few times in a few different books. And I need to drop off coffee and alcohol to something that considers that city home.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
That's not the only reason we need to find it.
Right, but when you're getting there, you're bringing off. Are we part of the offerings?
No, the coffee and the alcohol are trade goods. Except that I've already gotten my part of the bargain. And now I have to deliver coffee and alcohol.
Hold on. This is part of a bargain?
Kind of?
How is it kind of part of a bargain? Maybe you
Sounds
can go a
better
little
and
bit
better.
deeper?
I need to go back through my notes and found where I made this deal. Sorry, it's
And
going to take me a
why?
second. Okay, I'm just going to control F for coffee. What's the worst that could happen? Oh, it's in here. A bit. Okay, second, I need to read something from back in January. I was trying to learn something. Do you remember? Oh no, you don't. Gary had seasickness and you were playing cards or something with old people. Where were we traveling? When we were on our way to Australia. We hadn't even gotten here yet. And you, she points at Alvin, were off playing cards somewhere.
This is on the boat. Yes, I was the only one having a normal time,
Yes.
not reading books.
On the way to Australia. Well, that's yes. Anyhow, I was trying to learn something and struggling a bit. I needed a way to increase the power that I can draw on when we're doing the ritual. Because it's very draining and there's only so much of me left. And when I was trying to do that, something noticed. And it was I don't want to say kind and I don't want to say polite because those seem like very small words to use for something that felt that old and limitless. And when I explained that I was trying to do something to keep us alive because something was trying to kill us all. And I don't mean us, the five of us. I mean us as in, what was the word it used? Apes.
This story is not making me feel very good, Evelyn.
I
Can we get to a point where all of this makes sense and you say, yes,
I
that was a good
reached
decision?
I reached out to the universe to try to gain more power to cast these rituals with. And the universe noticed. And when the universe said, what are you doing?
Books, am I right?
I said, I'm trying to keep us all alive. Because something is trying to wipe us out. And it said, I can help you with that. And I accepted. And when it asked what I had to offer in return, I wasn't entirely serious when I thought that it wouldn't have any use for coffee or alcohol. And then it asked me what they were. And then I had to explain to the universe what coffee and alcohol were. And it decided it wanted some. So I'm bringing it. And I know that makes as much sense as an ant offering me half a grain of wheat, but that's where we are at this point.
I'm sorry,
I am
this
an
thing
ant
offered.
offering a god half a grain of wheat in return for not dying piece by
Oh,
piece as we cast these rituals.
okay.
What do you mean, oh, okay? This makes sense to you?
Absolutely not, but what does?
Does this make any more or less sense than anything you have learned since this journey started for you in New York?
We are offering an unknown, nameless entity coffee and alcohol for its amusement. Yes, this is a different level of strange.
I think it has a name.
I don't think its lack of name was what was bugging me the most about this situation.
Probably
Not only are
not.
you, not only are you bringing coffee and refreshments to the other side, bringing it, but you are also bringing it us.
No, Alvin. I understand why it seems that way. I honestly do. So in the things that we have collected over time, I'm sure we've talked about them in front of you. I know you haven't read any of the books, and more power to you for not doing so. But there are things that are in favor of Earth, humanity, existence, and things that aren't. Things that aren't are why we're doing the rituals, to stop the things that aren't in favor of existence. What I accidentally touched is in favor of existence and hasn't experienced these bits of our little insignificant existences yet. And because it was something new, it said, I will give you the information you're looking for because it's not hurting me to give you that information. And you will give me coffee and alcohol because I've never had them yet. And I may have been feeling a bit facetious and overwhelmed when I said that I didn't think that offering it coffee or alcohol would be much of an exchange, but it took me up on it, and so I'm taking advantage of that. I may have briefly went blind, but that's fine, I got better.
Yeah, that's the thing. You always do until you
I
won't.
to be fair, no. I did explain when it asked me what they were. I didn't just say, "Oh, this is something we like to have first thing in the morning and last thing at night." I explained that they were things that we use to change our outlook and our perspective on the world. So that's probably more interesting to it than whether it's a light roast or a dark roast, whether I brought sugar and milk. So I'm at this point, I'm bringing these things to it. And I don't know what will happen if I don't. And I would rather not have it say, "Oh, you've changed your mind about bringing me my half a grain of wheat. I think I'll step on you now, and I'll ignore the person who's pouring gasoline into your anthill so they can light it on fire." So
We can argue if the deal was wise or not, but once it's struck, you better go through with it.
you can help me or not. I don't fancy going mad or having the world burnt down around me. And I don't know that either of those things would actually happen. For all I know, it's completely forgotten about me entirely. But I'm going to hold up my side of the bargain regardless.
At that point, a voice in Evelyn's head says, "I have not."
Evelyn will freeze with whatever expression she has on her face at the time. I imagine her eyebrows are up a bit and her eyes are a bit wide, and she just kind of freezes for a second staring at Alvin.
What now?
Alvin's gonna assume that he got through to her. I get it. You've made your point. Fair.
It hasn't forgotten.
I don't think he can. Once you make a deal like that, deal with the devil, it just always comes back to haunt you.
It hasn't forgotten. So I'm not entirely sure if we need to go down the tunnel to the left or the tunnel to the right. Or if I just need to pour it down into the chasm. I don't have exact directions as to where I need to bring it. And it's not really clear if Evelyn's talking to Alvin and the others in the group at this point, or if she's talking to something in her head.
Yeah, Alvin does one of those looks behind him as though she's talking to you. What?
Uh, I'm just
Why
going
do all
to
these
sit
things
and
happen?
idle.
Start with books. I just.
Gary looks at you intently.
This didn't, I mean, if you go back far enough, I suppose it started with a book, but this started with us doing a ritual and me realizing that there's no way I was going to be able to live through doing all of them. And I sort of like living. Oddly enough, more so now than I used to.
Everybody give me a power roll.
That's a disturbing request. Alvin, look at you and your 9. Cow. Everybody except me. Oh, and Gary.
So Evelyn and Gary, you feel this kind of like a prying. Actually, everybody feels kind of like a prying at the edges of your consciousness. Alvin and Miles and Eugene are like, nope, 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 out of my brain, out of my brain. But Gary and Evelyn aren't strong enough to resist. And you get a clear sense of something wanting you to come to it off to the west, in an almost pleading fashion. And this voice that Evelyn recognizes says, "Please, you are very close."
Is it the same voice that struck the bargain with that said it hadn't forgotten a moment ago?
Yes.
Or is it a voice from some other time?
No, it is that voice.
Okay.
Please, you are close. And then both of you feel like a sudden like shock of pain as the connection is broken. Not that you're feeling the pain, but whatever was contacting you felt pain, and you felt it feeling the pain. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Evelyn will flinch.
So
Oh.
it may not be the it that we're fighting against or for, knows we're coming.
Right.
Yeah, that is the kind of information that we could have used. We thought we were coming in with surprise.
No, you're. There's more than one it, and right now it's in pain, which seems.
Maybe your it is being troubled by whatever we're coming for here.
I don't know. That was.
I'm not going to argue which it was, but there is an it that knows we're coming.
There are multiple its. One of the its knows we're coming.
Wasn't there Etienne and not
And
just
it's in
it?
pain. Sorry?
Weren't they called Etienne and not just it?
That's something else entirely, I think.
I thought the thing you spoke to was a Yitin.
What now?
West.
I might be mixing discussion in my head.
Right. It doesn't change the fact that we need to go right.
No, we need to go to the left.
The left is where the machine sound is coming from.
Yeah, we do have to go there.
But that's where
it is.
They may have just not. They found what they were looking for.
Okay.
There's. So using the reasoning that I had earlier, they haven't bothered going down this tunnel or the other tunnel because they didn't need to, because they already found what they were looking for.
I heard that pull too.
I don't know if I find that reassuring or frightening.
Neither do I, but it's real.
And on that note, we will call it there.
Oh, this is poor little Gary's first direct experience with the creepiness, isn't it?
It is.
Wait,
I mean,
does that mean you get Cthulhu Mythos, or are you still a virgin?
Congratulations! You just had your cherry popped. Let's
Mazel
hope your brain
tov.
doesn't follow.
No, there's not enough here to give Gary any dots in the mythos.
Oh, good,
I
because
don't want any.
I need him
don't
fresh.
want Am
Fresh
I the
and
only
cool.
one with no cool mythos?
You are.
Yep, because
Sorry.
Alvin
You're an innocent.
ended up getting some by accident.
Yep.
So you love me for my blood?
I love you for the innocence of your brain.
All right. So
What's important
everybody,
is what's inside.
everybody can roll for their luck recovery.
Oh dear.
Of course, I did not. I mean, I never had one.
Recover luck.
Ooh. Eugene. Nice.
Eugene is slowly climbing the ranks back up.
Oh yeah,
Eugene and Alvin.
I went down to 4 luck.
Yeah.
Yeah! Climbing up at a nice pace.
Yep.
You know, if you don't read books and don't cast spells, you don't have to spend luck.
That's true. All right. So we will see everybody. We'll see everybody next week as you guys start to explore this vast city under the Great Sandy Desert, and maybe find what has been
Requesting refreshments,
what is ordered in DoorDash.
room service.
Extra dimensional room service.
Extra dimensional room service.
To be fair, when I described it, I used the restaurant menu listing of explaining what coffee and alcohol is, as opposed to the booze and a cup of joe.
Yeah.
I used the fancy restaurant that, gives you a cup of coffee for $75, as opposed to the $1.50 that we're getting at McDonald's.
Perfect. All right. So we'll see everybody next week. We'll see a number of you tomorrow for Forbidden Lands.
Hopefully my luck is a little more reliable.
I mean, you got a 1 tonight on your science roll.
And then I got 100. So
Yeah, balance as well.
So everything is all balanced.
You should
Have a
add
great
the
one, guys.
geology on our sheet and click it as successful, so she can gain some point.
Perfect. All right. Well, have a good night, folks.
Like
Take care,
guys.
everybody.